We the people, we the people, we the people, we the people.
United States of America.
How you doing? I'm Wheliham from Cape Cod. I'm here to talk about tonight 9/11 and how that's an inside joke, and how as Americans we're just letting this pass by as if it never really happened, which in my opinion we shouldn't even be doing because that really screwed us over. On the event of 9/11, as you may know, 4 Boeing jets, 757s crashed into 3 buildings in the Pentagon. Yet 90 seconds prior to the collapse of the second building, you can see aluminum oxide dust, which is like a white puffy cloud, and there were no sewer breaks down where this was coming from. So, you know, this is also a certain chemical reaction done by the metal cutters used to solder through certain steel buildings when they're doing a professional demolition. So when it crumbled down like that, it's actually because they went in there and they cut the beams. And you can look at any one of the pictures online, you can talk to anybody that was there, and you can see all the supporting beams cut at that specific angle with the molten magma around it. Well, not magma, but molten steel. You know what I mean? When they went in to put the demolition devices in the bottom structure, the sub-levels of the buildings, they shut each specific section down, level by level, telling the people they're working that they were an electrical conduit work. Yet, can you ever find papers showing that this electric company ever existed, or pay stubs showing that the workers were even real workers working there, and that they worked those specific hours at that day? I don't think you'll find that any of them even exist. I didn't really study my thing very well. Building 7 itself had a crimp in the center, which is the same reaction any building has once it's been professionally demolished. It also had concentrated fires in it that were contained. And ask yourself this: if it had exploded, would it have creased on the middle, if you will? Or would there be concentrated fires? Usually when I think of something exploding, the entire building wouldn't have the steel structure still sitting there with the bottom of it perfectly, you know, sitting with molten stuff going down the side. Instead, it would be all over the place and bodies would be everywhere rather than concentrated fires in specific locations. There's also been reported instances of people that were running in there trying to help those get out, and they could hear explosions go off, and the people working in the sub-basement beforehand saying that they heard explosions. There's even recorded tape on Fox News showing the police officers saying that, yeah, we heard explosions down there, and, you know, this isn't done by planes. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier, I'm sorry, that it's been scientifically proven by NASA scientists that it's scientifically possible for a jet engine to even heat up that high to melt steel structures. No steel structure in the history of man has ever melted to the ground. For a good example, in Madrid, there was a hotel that burned for 3 whole days until it finally extinguished and the steel structure was still sitting there. Another point I'd like to make out is with the Pentagon. Now, I don't know if anyone is an aviation flight attendant or anything like that, but it is almost impossible for a 757 Boeing to go through that entire area, which is set up with street lights, buildings, towers, you can, whatever you want to think of. And it's also been stated that the guy that was driving the plane, that his flight instructor stated that he couldn't even fly one man-made small aircraft, let alone a gigantic 757. And then at the same time that it evaporated, it disintegrated, that there was nothing left. And once again, that's been proven by NASA scientists that it's scientifically possible for it to heat up that well. And then to cover that, they did an entire landscape overhaul of the entire area a week afterwards, destroying any DNA data that would have been there. Which at the same time they were proving there might have been, even though if you look at the pictures, it shows that in the explosion, you can see sofas and desks just sitting there perfectly intact. Yet at the same time, the entire thing was so hot it disintegrated the entire plane and all the bodies. Yeah, a simple chair won't burn down. That's a little hard to believe in my opinion. Is that a coincidence or not? I mean, also not to mention the fact that less than half of the 9/11 committee the 9/11 commission answered less than half of the questions that the victim families went to and asked them about. At the same time, a week after this report, one of the hijackers came out and said that he was alive. I think it was CNN or Fox, one of the two, I'm pretty sure it was Fox though, came out with a report stating that they found a passport of one of the attempted hijackers, and then I don't know how that escaped the entire explosion that was able to burn down steel that fell perfectly to the ground, didn't get covered in soot, nobody picked up or stepped on or dragged into some drain pipe. Somebody picked it up and was able to perfectly read who the person was, the identification number, social security number, whatever may be on a passport, and properly identify who it is. I don't think that's almost possible, in my opinion. I also know it's a sci-fi thing. And so, a week afterwards, when the guy saw that, he came forward and stated, "This isn't true, I was never there." Proved he was never there, and then also proved that the government paid off his house, paid off his car bill, his credit card bills, his kids don't have to pay their college tuition, he's set for life. And he proved that as well, and that was never in the news. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. Also, it took 80 minutes for the jets to get there, instead of it would take 6. And I used to live on Cape Cod, on the Otis Air Force Base, and I personally remember seeing the jets sitting there in the morning with their engines on, just perfectly sitting still, like nothing was going on. That's it.
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.